Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PTIC lecture today with University of Malaysia Perlis. Welcome to the Honorable Dr. Sri Sarah Maznah Salleh, as a senior lecturer, Department of Business Equity and Communication. And for the topic today is Principle of Entrepreneurship. And for today's session is being live streamed on the University STEKOM YouTube channel. And now I will read our agenda this afternoon. First, we will start class presentation delivered by Dr. Sri Sarah and continue with the Q&A session. After, in the next session, we have time for documentation and last time is closing. Okay, let's begin. We will start class delivered by Dr. Sarah. The time is yours. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for the introduction. And thank you very much for having me for today's talk. Before anything, let me try to share the slide that I have. Are you able to see the slide?
Yes.
All right, can you hear me clearly? Okay, so basically, like today session is just like a sharing session about entrepreneurship, right? We know that entrepreneurship is very important. I'm sure there in Indonesia, the government have been trying to emphasize on the numbers of entrepreneurs as well. Same like here in Malaysia. The government have been trying to increase number of entrepreneurs. You can say young entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, right? There are different scheme or different type of initiatives created by the government. And I'm sure throughout the world as well, because we cannot deny the importance of entrepreneurs. But again, what is entrepreneurship? What can make a successful entrepreneurs? And I hope, I believe that majority of the audience here are undergraduate students, right? So I hope that after this, when you graduate, becoming an entrepreneur should be one of the options, or you can say main option for you to your next path after you graduate. So what is actually entrepreneurship, right? So there are many definitions of entrepreneurship, but then you can say in academic way of defining what entrepreneurship is all about. You can say it is actually a process by where individuals pursue opportunities without regards to resources they currently control. It means that these individuals, they see that there's opportunity for them to grab, to pursue a business where they can get returned in, you can say, profit way. But there are certain things that are not under their control. You can see risks that they take while pursuing these opportunities. So an alternative way for us to see what entrepreneurship is all about is actually the art of turning an idea into a business, right? Because entrepreneur is someone who run a business. But again, what kind of business? What distinguish a businessman to the others, right? What distinguish one entrepreneur to the other? It depends on the idea, the business idea that they have, and how they actually turn the art of turning what they believe is a good idea for them to pursue in running a business. That will distinguish them as a good entrepreneur or no. So we can say that entrepreneurship is actually your idea, what you have, what you think is great idea that you believe you can pursue, and this idea that others will believe in your idea as well, that you can turn into a successful business. So in the dynamic process of vision, change, and creation, right? What can make a good entrepreneurship? What can make a good entrepreneur? What are the main ingredients in becoming a great entrepreneur? One of it is the willingness to take calculated risks, right? Usually, some people will say that, okay, if you are an entrepreneur, if you run a business, that means that you are a risk taker. You must be very brave, right? You put risk in everything and then you pursue with your business idea, what you believe, your dreams. But again, the actual meaning of becoming an entrepreneur is not just taking unnecessary risk. It's actually taking calculated risk. What does it mean by calculated risk is that you need to see what are the things that you are putting into risk and see what can be the potential reward after that by taking this risk. That means that it is calculated risk. If you believe that the risk that you are taking as compared to the return that you are going to get later is actually greater than the risk that you are taking, then it's a good calculated risk for you to take to pursue your idea, to pursue your dream. One of other essential ingredients of becoming a good entrepreneur is that the ability to formulate an effective venture team. What does that mean? Because if you want to run a business, yeah, starting a business, maybe the idea comes from you as an individual. But when you run a business, you cannot simply run on your own. Or if you want to grow your business, you cannot grow on your own. We cannot deny that we need others to work together to make something successful, right? Because working on your own is very challenging. And running a big business, successful business, is, you can say, impossible to run on your own. So you as an individual, if you want to become a great entrepreneur, one of the things that you need to be able to do is you need to formulate an effective venture team. The team, maybe there are skills that you don't really have or knowledge that you are not good at. So you need to find other individuals to work with you, to become your team, to make sure that your business can be successful. Another thing is that you need to have creative skill to marshal needed resources, right? When we talk about resources, it's not only about financial resources. We might think, right, okay, if you want to run a business, you need to have a certain amount of money as a capital for you to start the business. But again, resources is not only financial resources. It can also be about knowledge, resource of knowledge, resource about networking. It can also resource about other individual, right? Team. How are you going to gather these human resources for you to start the business, run the business, and grow the business? And another essential ingredient is that fundamental skill of building a solid business plan, right? Because if you want to run a business, you want to start a business, you cannot simply say, wake up in the morning and say, okay, I want to start a business today, right? And then just start any type of business. Let's say if the business is something, a great deal, right? Maybe the amount of capital that is needed is quite large, right? So one of a good business plan, a solid business plan, can be used to attract investor to invest in your business as well. Another way, another benefit of having a solid business plan is actually for your own good as an entrepreneur, for your own benefit. Because there you will be able to see, you have a clear picture. What's the direction of your business? Who are your target customers? What kind of product or service that you are planning to sell or to serve? And how are you going to market your product? And then how are you going to grow your product, right? You need to forecast about your business in the future. So this will help you to have a clear idea, clear picture how your business is going to be run later, where others see chaos, contradiction, and what makes a good entrepreneur is that when others are seeing things as, okay, this is a problem, this is an issue, this is chaos and everything, you are able to see, okay, there's opportunity that you can grab from that kind of problem, from that kind of chaos or that kind of issue situation. If you are that kind of individual that are able to identify there's opportunity when others are seeing there's only problem, there's only issues, right? If you see there's opportunity there that you can grab to turn that into a great business idea, then inshallah you will become a great entrepreneur because you are unique, you are able to see things that others cannot. All right. So a person, individual who run the business, right? The entrepreneur itself. So usually entrepreneur is actually the one who organize, who manage, and assume the risk of a business, right? You not only start the business, you need to organize, okay, what you need to do first, what you need to do next. You need to manage the business. How are you going to run the business? How are you going to sell your product? How are you going to sell your service? And you also need to be able to assume risk of the business, because risk is not only at the start when you start the business, but risk will come again and again throughout your business career. All right. So there's what you can see, explanation of what entrepreneurs do. So what do these individuals actually do? Do they just run a business? But actually, entrepreneurs assemble and then they integrate all the resources needed, the resources that they need, right? What can be the resources? It can be the financial resources, it can be the human resource, it can be the business model, the strategy of running the business itself. Then they transform that into an invention. It can be invention or innovation, you can say, or an idea into a what an individual, an entrepreneur do. So what differentiate between a small business owner and entrepreneurs, right? How you can differentiate entrepreneurs with people who are selling fried banana or bakso beside the road and all that. So the main difference is that small business owners, they only manage their business just to get a stable sales, right? Or to get stable profits and maybe a slight growth a little bit. It's just like, okay, if I have sales, this amount of sales every day or every month, I'm happy with it, right? So this kind of individual, we call them a small business owner. But what does it mean by an entrepreneur? How entrepreneurs are different? Entrepreneur, instead of just running the business, looking for the sales, trying to get profit, trying to grow the business, but their main focus, their effort is towards innovation. They want to create something new. It can be with new idea, it can be new product, it can be new service, an invention. From there, they want profit from it and they want sustainable growth. What does it mean by sustainable growth? It means that continuous growth. They want to keep growing and growing and growing. How? By focusing on being innovative. This is what makes an entrepreneur different than a small business owner. So when we talk about becoming an entrepreneur, right? Many will have this kind of perception, or you can say myth related to entrepreneur. Some people or many people believe that, okay, entrepreneurs are doers. They are not thinkers. They just do. They are brave to take action, just do and do and do and take action, right? But actually, to be a good entrepreneur, it's not only the action, but behind the action, before taking the action, before doing, and the entrepreneur needs to think first. What's the idea that they are going to pursue? Is the idea worth pursuing? What are the risks that come together with the idea if they want to pursue with the business idea? What will be the return in the future? How long it will take, right, to get the return? So these are the things that they have to think before taking the action. So entrepreneur is not just doers. They need to think as well. And some believe that, okay, entrepreneurs, they are born to become an entrepreneur, right? They are not made. But actually, to become an entrepreneur, let's say if you don't have the knowledge, you can learn. It's not like you have to be born, okay, today you are born, then okay, one day you will become an entrepreneur. Let's say if you're interested to start a business, but then you don't have the skill of running a business, you can still take courses, you can still learn from other successful entrepreneurs and see what are the things that they do that make them a good entrepreneur. And then the third myth is that entrepreneurs are always inventors, right? You don't have to always invent new thing. You can simply improvise a little bit, then you will become a good entrepreneur as well. Because if you are just inventing, again, okay, inventors, you are inventing something new, right? You are being creative. You invent something new. You are an innovator. But again, if you are an innovator or inventor, that doesn't mean you are an entrepreneur. Because in entrepreneurship, you need to turn that invention, that idea, the new thing that you have developed, that you can come up with, into profit. then only it makes you an entrepreneur. So it's not just about inventing something new, but you have to make sure that the new invention that you have, you can turn that into profit. You have to convince your target customer that the product or the service, the new invention that you are introducing is something beneficial for them. Another myth is that entrepreneurs are academic and social misfit. Okay, so people believe that, okay, if you don't do well in school, then what are the other options that you have? Start a business, right? Some people believe in this, but actually those who are highly educated, they see entrepreneurship is one of their career path, because to become a good entrepreneur, you need many skills and knowledge. Then only you are able to become a successful entrepreneur. If not, you might be able to start a business, but your business cannot sustain long run in the market. Another one is that entrepreneurs must fit the profile. Some people have this certain perception that, okay, entrepreneur has this kind of profile that you have to fit in, then only you can become a good entrepreneur, right? That's not the case. And then something that, okay, all entrepreneurs need money, right? Again, money is not the main thing. It is important to start a business because you need capital. But again, money is not the main thing for you to start a business, because even though, let's say, even though you are a millionaire, you have a lot of financial resources, but again, if you don't have a good business idea, even you start the business, then your business cannot sustain, because the business idea itself is not a good business. And then all entrepreneurs need is luck, right? Somebody like, okay, this person is successful in becoming a good businessman or businesswoman because they are just lucky, right? Luck is not the thing. The thing is that you need to have good idea. You need to have good strategy to pursue with the idea, and you need to have the strategy of attracting people in believing your product or your service to sell it. And you need to also have the strategy of thinking, okay, what's next that you have to do? How you can grow your business? Is it by introducing new product? Is it by introducing new service? Or is it by improvising? If you want to improvise, how you want to improvise, from which sources that you can get ideas for you to improvise your product or your service, right? So it's not just about luck. It's more about knowledge, being able to think what need to be done and the strategy, what you need to do correctly. And another myth related to, right, think like, okay, they're messy. Being a woman businessman is messy. They're just chaos everywhere. But actually, entrepreneurship is structured. It's a process, right? So you decide you want to become a business, you want to start a business, but then you have to think, okay, what kind of business do you want to do? What kind of product do you want to sell? What kind of service do you want to provide? And then from there, you have to think, okay, this kind of product, this kind of service, who will be your target customer, right? What kind of problems of issues faced by your potential customers that you are planning to solve through your product or your service that you are going to introduce? Then you have to also think, okay, how are you going to market it? Or through which channel are you going to sell? Then from there, you have to think, okay, how are you going to grow your business later? How you have to make sure that your business is continuously competitive enough to stay and lead in the market. So it is actually a structured process. It's not just unstructured and chaotic. You need to have a process, think strategically what you have to do first, and then next and go on. And next myth is that most entrepreneurial initiatives fail. Yeah, it's not about most of the initiatives fail. You will face failure, right? When you are doing something new, it's common for you to face failure. Maybe the first time that you introduce the product, maybe it doesn't succeed, all right? But then you have to learn from that failure. You have to see, okay, if the product is not successful, people are not buying your product, there might be something wrong with the product, right? Maybe you didn't market it that well. If the product is good, then maybe you don't market it that well. Or if you have marketed very well, but people still don't believe or don't buy your product or use your service, then maybe there's something wrong with what you are selling. So you want to get knowledge, get information, what you should improve, right? Then you can try again, introduce again, make some improvement according to what your customers want, what your customers need. Because when you are selling something, it's not about 100% is not about you, right? You want to sell something that people want to buy. So you have to understand what your target customer wants, what your target customers need. So you have to improvise according to that. Then you try again. And then if you do it strategically, you serve what is needed by the customer, then this failure will turn into success. Another myth is that entrepreneurs are extreme risk takers. Again, I discussed a little bit before this, right? It's not about extreme risk taker. It's about calculated risk. Whatever risk that an entrepreneur has to take on or going to take, they have to think about, okay, is this risk is worth taking? When you are taking this risk, what will be the return that will come together with the risk later? And how long the return will be? Does this risk worth taking or no? Again, calculated risk, not just extreme risk taker. There are other myths related to entrepreneurs. There are so many others, right? Not only just 10. So I just share only 10 of them, like common myth related to entrepreneurs. But again, right? I've been talking about becoming an entrepreneur, the importance of entrepreneurship, the importance of becoming an entrepreneur, how you can become a successful entrepreneur, but why usually people want to become an entrepreneur? Why do you want to become an entrepreneur? There are certain, you can say, top reasons behind individuals who decide to become an entrepreneur. One of it, or the main thing, is that the desire to be their own boss. Usually this is the top reason of becoming an entrepreneur, because they believe that, okay, I want to become my own boss. I don't want to report to somebody. I want to be the one who makes a decision, right? To decide strategic decision I want to be responsible for an organization, for my team. So this usually the main reason for an individual to become an entrepreneur. Another one is that desire to pursue their own ideas, because right, there are even many entrepreneurs that they work in the industry or they have a job, right? But then they resigned and then they start their own business, because they believe that sometimes they have very good idea. They believe that this idea can be pursued, but when they give this idea, propose this kind of idea, their boss doesn't really believe in their idea. So they feel like, okay, I know that this idea is good. What idea that I have is a good idea. And if I pursue this idea, it's going to be a successful business. So they choose to become an entrepreneur because they want to pursue their own idea, this idea that they strongly believe is a good idea to be pursued, to run a business from here. Then they start their own business. Another one is also financial reward, right? Okay. People might think that entrepreneurs become an entrepreneur because they want financial reward. Financial reward is one of the main reason, but not the top reason, right? Not the first one. It's one of the main reason, but not number one. Because financial reward is one of the reasons, okay, because from there, you can decide how you want to grow the business. That can also define how you want to grow your financial reward. Okay. In entrepreneurship, right? Becoming an entrepreneur is not all about rainbow colors, good colors, all the beauty things, right? When you decide that you want to pursue this as your career, you want to become an entrepreneur, there are certain things that you have to think of. There are risks that you are taking while becoming an entrepreneur. Definitely, number one is the financial risk, right? Versus profit. Because when you start a business, you are taking the risk because you don't know if the business going to succeed or not. You believe with your idea, but again, you don't know if it's going to be a successful business idea or no. So you are taking the risk if you are getting profit or not really, right? So this is the thing that you have to think about. One of the risks that you have to think of. Another one is career risk. Some people, they believe that, okay, like I mentioned before, some people, they have their job, right? They have stable income every month, certain amount of income every month. But then they feel like, okay, I want to pursue with my own idea and I want to start a business. The risk that this individual is taking is that the career risk. They are putting like letting go the job that they are having, letting go the stable income that they have, because they want to become an entrepreneur. So this is the career risk that they are taking. Another one is family and social risk. Because when you want to start a business, it's gonna need your full commitment, right? Especially when you start the business itself, right? It's gonna need full commitment. So here you are putting risk of your family time. You are putting risk on your social time, right? These are the things that you have to sacrifice, the sacrifices that you have to do in order for you to start the business, run the business, and grow the business. This is one of the risks. Another thing is that the psychological impact. Again, we talk about failure, right? And entrepreneurship. When you start a business, that doesn't guarantee that you're going to succeed with the first trial. Not even with the second trial, not even with the third trial. You might have to try again and again and again and again. So while facing failure again and again until, right, until the succeed your glory, the moment where you are successful in running the business itself, you might face psychological impact from this failure, right? So you need to be able to manage this psychological impact as well, and this is the risk that you have to think of when you decide when you want to become an entrepreneur. All right. We talk about entrepreneurs, right? So what can make a good entrepreneur, or what are the characteristics that we usually um, characterize as, okay, these individuals, if they have this characteristic, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, they have the characteristic of an entrepreneur, or you can say entrepreneurial mindset. One of it is that determination and perseverance. You need to determine, right? And you need to be perseverance. You need to be able to drive to achieve. If let's say you fail for the first time, you need to get up and try again. Even though if you fail again, you need to get up and try again. If you have this kind of characteristic, opportunity orientation means that, okay, when you see, again, what I mentioned before, people are seeing it as a problem, as issues, but from these problems, from these issues that people are facing, you see, okay, there's opportunity for you to introduce a product, introduce a service, or run a business there, right? So opportunity orientation, you always try to find opportunity and you grab that opportunity quickly. And it is also initiative and responsibility. You need to be persistent in problem solving, right? Let's say you see there's a problem in your business, you need to solve it quickly. If you see problem in the society, you say, okay, your potential customer are facing some problems, say, okay, you want to solve this kind of problem through a new product that you might want to introduce, a new service that you might want to introduce. And then at the same time, you need to seeking feedback, right? What does it mean by seeking feedback? Let's say if you introduce a product or service, and then people are buying it, people are using your product, buying your using your product, buying your product, and using your service as well. And then you need to have this characteristic of trying to get feedback from them. Like, okay, what do they like about the product? What do they like about the service? What they don't really like? What they wish is different in the product or in the service? Because by having these feedback from them, you are able to see where are the improvements that you need to make for later. Maybe you want to introduce a new version of your product, or maybe you want to introduce a new product, right? Because again, when you are an entrepreneur, it's not just running the business and get some sales, get some profit, and grow a little bit, right? You want to keep growing your business. So how you want to grow your business? What are the other products that you want to introduce? The idea that you can get is through seeking feedback from your target customer or from your customer. Another one is internal locus of control. You need to be able to control your emotion or the stress that you are facing and all that. And you need to also be able to to tolerance for ambiguity. What is tolerance for ambiguity? When you run a business, right? You pursue an idea, you don't know if this idea gonna turn into profit or no, right? So you need to be able to tolerate with this ambiguity, things that you cannot really see, it's not that clear, you are not that sure. Or you can say, all right, when you try to introduce a new, you invent something, right? You're trying to, okay, you don't know how's your target customer, how's the feedback of your target customer. So this kind of ambiguity, you need to be able to tolerate with it. And then again, you need to be calculated risk taking, right? Not just simply taking any single risk, but it is calculated risk. And then you need to have high energy level. Energy, because running a business, right? You will be the person, the main person who is responsible for the organization, for the business, of running the business, of selling it, improving it, introducing new product, right, to grow the business. So these a lot of responsibility. So you need to have high energy level to become a great entrepreneur. And then creativity and innovativeness. Again, how you want to make sure that you are unique as compared to the rest, how you want to make sure that your customers, because in the market, right, there are other competitors. How are you going to make sure that people are buying your product or your service as compared to your competitors? There, you need to be creative and innovative in your product or service itself, in the way you are marketing it, in the way of you managing your business, right? So creativity and innovativeness is one of the important things as well. And then you need to have vision, where your business going to be later, right? The vision of your business of growing, how it will be. And then you need to have great passion. You need to be passionate about your business, because if you yourself are not passionate with your business, when you're not passionate about something, that then you will only do it halfway, right? You are not fully 100% into it. Then it's not gonna succeed, or it's not gonna sustain in the long run. And then you need to be independent, right? You need to be the independence of making decisions, pursue something, doing things, right? And then you need to also have team building. Why team building is important? Because again, running a business, even though starting the business idea comes from you as individual, one person, but running a business and growing a business, you need to have a great team. Then only the business is going to be successful and grow in the future. So throughout other characteristics, right, there are 4 main characteristics that studies have shown to be into successful entrepreneurs. These are the main 4 characteristics that successful entrepreneurs have. What are they? One of it is passion for the business, right? And then need to have product or customer focus. The third one is tenacity despite failure. And the fourth one is execution intelligence. All right. So what are these 4? Passion for business, right? Again, I discussed before. You need to be very passionate. Imagine like when you're in love with someone, right? You're very passionate about that person. You are all out to do things for that person. Same goes to business. When you're very passionate about the business, you will go all out 100% for the business. Let's say if you face problem in the business, like something doesn't work, you try to solve it. You try to see what you can do better to make things work, right? So you need to have passionate for the business. That is the one of the main 4 successful entrepreneurs characteristic. Next one is product or customer focus. Okay, it is very important because whatever that you are selling, whatever product, whatever service, right? Whatever that you are selling, it has to be bought by someone. You are trying to sell something, right? So you need people to believe in the product. You need to make people believe in the service. So whatever that you are selling has to be focused on the customer. It has to, whatever decision that you want to make, it has to focus on the product that you are selling, the service that you are providing. Because these are the main reason for you, for the line, for your profit, for your growth, for your business, right? So whatever decision that you make, whatever things that you want to sell, the product or the service that you want to introduce, it has to be product or customer focused. Things that the action that you are going to take has to be product or customer focused. Next one is tenacity despite failure. We talked about failure before, right? And one of the risks that entrepreneurs have to take is about the failure. So even though you can say almost we can guarantee that every entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur nowadays, they have faced failure. But what make them a great entrepreneur is that they have the tendency, despite failure, even though they face failure, they don't give up. They get up and they try again, and they see where they should do better, where they can improve. And again, more failure, it's okay. They try to improve again and see what are the other things, improvement that they can make. And then they try again. So this kind of behavior characteristic will make a person, individual, a great entrepreneur. Another one is execution intelligence, right? It's not about not only about, yeah, you need knowledge, things that you, there are different knowledge that you need for you to start a business and run a business. But execution intelligence is that an individual, the entrepreneur, need to be smart enough to identify this opportunity and smart enough to decide when he or she should pursue with the idea and when he or she should make some changes, make some improvement, and introduce something new, right? To invent, to be innovative in it. So these are the four main characteristics that makes an entrepreneur a successful entrepreneur. Because why, right? In doing business or even in life, right? In normal life, our own every day, we have our own plan. For example, today, right? You, when you wake up, you might have, okay, plan, okay, today I'm going to do this, then I will do next, then I will do next, right? But in reality, what happens doesn't really follow whatever that you have in your mind, your plan, right? Your plan not really have to go as what you think it will. The reality is that, okay, there might be a setback, right? Maybe let's say you plan, okay, by 1 o'clock you want to go for lunch with someone, right? Maybe with your colleague or with your friends. But then maybe there's you forgot there's assignment that you have to submit, right? Okay, then there's one setback. Or maybe, hopefully it doesn't happen, right? Maybe you go into an accident. Maybe you fell, so you had a cut, right? So you had to go to the clinic or something. So these, in reality, things happen. Same goes to business. Yeah, when you start a business, you believe that, okay, this idea that I have, I believe is going to be a successful idea, successful business idea. But again, there are things that will happen. It's not like, okay, you start a business, then wow, people gonna buy your product or buy your service, and then your business gonna grow directly, right? So you have to think like, okay, there are certain things, or there will be failures and there will be challenges that you have to face. Some might be bigger than the rest, and it might come again and again and again. But when you face these kind of failures, difficulties, challenges, you need to be determined enough, brave enough to get up and keep going to make sure that your business gonna grow and gonna succeed. That's why these characteristics are very important to make you a great entrepreneur. Again, one is passion for your business. You need to be very passionate about your business, right? Even though you face problems, there are issues in your business, try to see what you can do to make things work, right? And then you need to also focus on your product, what you are selling, the product or the service. And you need to also focus on the customer, the people that you are trying to serve by selling your product or your service. And you need to also have the tendency, despite failure. Doesn't matter, problems come, challenges come, but you're going to face it and try again and again. And then you need to have execution intelligence. You need to be smart enough to identify opportunity. You need to be smart enough to see, okay, what kind of, when are you going to pursue with the business? When are you going to grab the opportunity? When are you going to grow, right? So this is part of becoming a successful entrepreneur. Okay. Talking about becoming an entrepreneur, right? And I think all of you have listened to this word ethics, right? You need to be ethical. Whatever that we do, we need to be ethical. Same goes to in business. So what does it mean by being ethical in business? It means that you need to make sure that how you run your business, it falls into the basic rules or parameter, or you can say acceptable manner, right? You need to make sure that the decision that you make, how you run the business and all that, it falls into behavioral code of conduct, right? You need to be able to see what is good, what is bad, what is right, what is wrong, right? Okay, because some when you run a business later, you will face the situation where you are in dilemma, right? Dilemma of being ethical or unethical. Are you going to continue being an ethical entrepreneur, or you will conduct some unethical behavior? Some of the dilemmas that you have sometimes is because of the interest, maybe your business interest and your personal interest, right? The conflict between internal and external interest. This can make you into this dilemma to become ethical or no. Another one is that the changes in societal values, or you can say the norms, right? So when things changes, maybe before it is still acceptable, but throughout time, this kind of behavior or this kind of product or service that you are selling might not be acceptable anymore in the society. So here, there are ethical dilemma that you are facing. So some people, right, um, when they face this kind of dilemma, they might go into this unethical behavior by trying to justify this unethical action. How they will justify, right? Say, okay, it's not really illegal or immoral, right? You try to just find out, okay, it's okay. I think it's okay not to be that ethical a little bit because it's not really unethical, right? It's not really illegal or immoral. So this kind of behavior is not a good behavior in anything, especially in running a business as an entrepreneur. And then you say that, okay, this action, this unethical action is actually for the best interest of your business. You try to justify that unethical decision because you say, okay, even though it's unethical, but I do it because it is for the best interest of the business. Again, if you face this kind of situation, even the it is the best for the business. But even though no one doesn't know about the unethical behavior, unethical conduct that you will take, that you will do, again, you as an individual, as a person, as a human, you know that is unethical, you shouldn't be doing that, right? Okay. When you run a business, right, it is very important for you as an entrepreneur, as the owner of the business, to practice ethical behavior, to show ethical behavior. Why? Because again, when you run a business, you are not alone, right? You will have many people together with you. You have a team, you have a group. So this team or this group are looking towards you. You are like you are their leader, right? You are the owner of the business. You are the entrepreneur. The business starts with your idea. So when you are unethical, meaning that you are showing that this unethical behavior is acceptable in the business. So when you, as the leader of the organization or of the group of the business, when you are unethical, then your employees, other people in surrounding you, other people together with your team, might follow the unethical behavior as well. So you have to make sure that you, as an individual, as an entrepreneur, the first person, has to always behave ethically so that the organization, the business, is going to run in ethical way. Okay. Let's say if you decide that you want to start a business, like, okay, now you feel like starting a business is my thing, or this is one of the potential career path that you will do. Or maybe now as a student, you feel like, okay, you want to start a business while studying, right? What are the steps that comes if you want to become an entrepreneur? So the first step, definitely you have to decide, okay, you want to become an entrepreneur or no? The decision, yes or no first. Let's say, okay, yeah, I want to become an entrepreneur. But again, when you decide you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to think of, okay, what kind of business you want to do, right? So this goes to the second step, developing successful business idea. You have to think of what are the ideas, potential ideas that can be a good business for you to start. Once you have identified, okay, these are the good ideas, And then you say, okay, among all these idea, this one idea you believe going to be successful. Then you proceed with it, right? So then you are moving from an idea, the idea that you had before, and turn that into entrepreneurial firm. From idea into a business, right? And then after that, once you turn your idea into business, you need to manage your business and try to grow the business itself, right? There are 4 steps. Again, first you decide to become an entrepreneur or not to become, like to start a business or not to start a business. Then you have to find what are the ideas, business idea, potential business ideas for you to start. Once you have decided which idea going to pursue, then you need to turn that idea into a business, viable business. Start the business itself. Once you start the business, you need to manage and grow the business. So that are the 4 steps in entrepreneurial process. All right. Talking about steps in entrepreneurial process, right? Looking at the second step, before you start the business itself, you have decided you want to start a business, but then you're thinking, okay, what kind of business? What are the business idea, potential business idea? So here is actually the main critical part. Even before starting any business, turning the idea into a viable business, you need to know what business idea, what can be a creative business idea, what can be a successful business idea. That's why when we talk about entrepreneurship, when we talk about becoming an entrepreneur, we always relate with being creative and being innovative, right? Say, okay, if you want to become a great entrepreneur, you need to innovate. You cannot stay constant with the same product and sustain in the market for long run. You need to change. Can change into the product that you are selling, changes in the service that you are serving, right? So how are you going to get idea? What are the changes that you want to make? It goes into creativity and innovation, right? You need to be creative, you need to be innovative. When we say being creative means that you make something different, right? You are different. The business idea that you have is different as compared to the rest. Maybe your product is slightly different as compared to your competitors. Your service is slightly different as compared to your competitors. Creativity is there, right? And then innovation. So what is innovation? How they are different between creativity and innovation? If they are important in business for entrepreneurs, but how they are different, creativity and innovation. So creativity is being unique, right? Different as compared to others. But innovation is actually the difference, the uniqueness that you have, the creativity that you have. But when there's added value in that creativity, that is actually innovation. Because let's say you are being unique. Let's say you are you introduce a new product. If you believe in the product, but then your target customer doesn't see that there's value added in the product, like there's no value for them, then it's not an innovation because you are just being creative. If you want to invent something, right, you want to introduce an innovation, you have to make sure that your creativity, your invention, there's value added in it. Who value your product or your idea? It has to be your target customer because they are the people that you are trying to sell your creativity or your invention is. So remember, when you start a business, when you run a business, you want to introduce something new, but you have to make sure that the creativity that you put into, that you turn your creativity into a product or into a service, there's value added there. And this value added that you believe gonna be valuable is valued by your target customer. They are going to buy your product or your service. Before we said about ideas, right? So when you run a business, or before you run a business, you are considering about, okay, what are the potential business ideas that you should pursue, right? How you can come with different ideas, what will make you unique. There are different sources for you to get innovative ideas, or you can say you want to identify opportunity, right? You want to start a business, what opportunity there for you to grab? turn that opportunity into a product itself. You have to observe, okay, what's the environment currently is, right? So from there, you can see the opportunity, what people are facing, what is the problem among the people. Let's say the current product, what's the problem with the current vet through your own product that you are going to sell later. You can also get innovative idea through trends, right? The different trends. They can be demographic trends, it can be economical trend, the different kind of trends, right? Social trend. So these changes in trend can also help you in identifying innovative idea, new idea, opportunity for you to start a business or expand your business. And you can also get it through valuable insight, right? It can be beside the insight from your target customer. It can be insight from your team, your business team as well, or other insight, valuable insight that you really like. This can help you in identifying. So when you identify an idea, right? Say, okay, what are the things that will help you in identifying opportunity or seeing there's identifying ideas, good ideas, potential ideas, innovative ideas for you to pursue with in running a business. It can be from your personal work, can be from your experience, can be from education. It can also from the general industry knowledge, right? You might have some knowledge related to the industry. You might also know about the prior market knowledge. You might also know from your prior customer understanding. Maybe you have run the business, right? And then you want to expand the business. You want to sell other product. You want to introduce new product, a new service, but you are trying to find innovative idea, what kind of other product market to customers, right? You can also through specific interest knowledge, you might have your own specific interest knowledge and the previous knowledge that you have and see, yeah, you can see that it's all about not need to, because without knowledge you are taking action blindfolded, right? Because you are just taking risk without even knowing what are that you are taking, what action that you are taking. All right. All right. Another thing that we talk about entrepreneur, right? Towards the early slides, I mentioned that entrepreneur is actually the vision to recognize opportunity where others see chaos, contradiction, and confusion, right? So it means that, okay, you need to be able to see opportunity where other people are seeing things as the situation as problematic situation. You can take a moment. There is actually opportunity that you can grab and you can turn that into a viable business idea, start a business and turn that into a profitable thing. What can make something, right? You say, okay, you need to be able to identify opportunity in chaos or in problems, and people see problems. So what opportunity is all about, right? So opportunity is favorable set of circumstances, right? Okay, these kind of circumstances is actually favorable for you to start a business through introducing a product or introducing a service, right? And turn this into a viable business. So what are the opportunities? If you identify like, okay, this is a good opportunity for you to start a business, you want to know if that opportunity is a good opportunity. It has to be attractive to whom? Attractive to you to start the business and attractive to your target customer. Because whatever that you are trying to introduce, you are trying to sell, you have to make sure that people buy it enough. It has to be attractive to the target customer. At the same time, it has to be durable. What is durable, right? Durable, usually we say like long lasting. So you don't want that opportunity as the one that you sell, right? For example, you turn that opportunity into a product or service, but the product or service can only sustain in the market only for them one shot, right? You sell it 1 or 2 months, then gone. Will not be able to sell anymore. So this kind of idea is not durable. It has to be something that long lasting. Through this product or through this service, you can stay in the market, sustain in the market for a long run. And another one is that it has to be timely. Right? So what is timely? Timely means that the opportunity that you have identified, you turn that into an idea or business idea for you to sell a product or service. It has to be the right time for you to introduce or to sell the product or service. Because maybe your product or your idea is actually a good product, good service, but then it's not the right time for you to sell it or for you to introduce the kind of service. So you have to make sure it is timely at the correct time. All right. And then you need to anchor in a product or service or business that creates or add values for its buyers or end users. Again, right? We talked about being creative and innovative before. Innovative is that your creativity that has value added there. Okay, so whatever that you are trying to sell, the opportunity that you have identified, you have to think of, okay, what are the value added that you put into the product or the service that you are trying to sell to the customer? And you have to think about, okay, do you believe that your target customers really see this value added that you put into the product or service is important to them, right? Because if there's no value added, this value that you put is not important enough for them, then even though you believe is a good idea, but your target customer might not buy the product. So these are the things that you have to consider when you want to identify the opportunity that you see is actually a good opportunity for you to pursue this turn it into an idea, viable business model or no. Okay. So when we identify as an entrepreneur, when we identify opportunity, right? You have to see again, you have to look at the environment trends, right? It can be through the environmental trends, it can be through academic factor, social factor, technological advancements. You need to also consider about political and regulatory changes. And at the same time, not only the environmental trends, you have to also look at your personal characteristic of an entrepreneur, right? Because maybe you have identified a good idea, but you don't really have good experience. You don't really have good knowledge related to the product or the service that you are trying to sell. Maybe you don't really have the social network to develop the product or service to sell it, right? You need to consider this because even though the external environment shows that there's opportunity there, you need to reflect to yourself, your capability and what are the skill that you have. If you have all the necessary skill, the characteristic that you have to pursue with the idea, then only you go further. If you don't have any of this, for example, social network, let's say you don't have it, that doesn't mean that you stop there, you don't pursue with the idea. That means that you have to find the team, the right team, to make sure that the team gonna complement each other, to make sure that you as a team have all the important characteristic, all important knowledge, skill needed to pursue with that opportunity identified. Then only you look at the differences, what's available and what's possible, right? Because you see there's opportunity. How do you want to see what you should introduce? So you can see what people or what the competitors or people inside them market are selling. That is what available and what is the possible, the new things that you might want to introduce, invention, the new changes that you want to make and turn that into a new product or new service that you are going to sell. Then there it turns into new business, product and service idea. Means that you start your own business through all this process from your opportunity identification. So now, right, you have all this knowledge. Now you are thinking, if you have this idea, you have identified this opportunity, do you think it's a feasible opportunity? Do you think it's a feasible idea or no? What is feasible, right? When we talk about feasible, you need to make sure that um, this opportunity that you have identified, the business idea that you have is something that you can really turn it into business. You are able to do it. You are capable to do it, capable to run it, right? So you have the ability and capability to actually pursue the business idea, the opportunity that you have identified into a viable business model. So to be able to do that, to be able to identify if it is feasible or no, you should do feasibility analysis, right? So what is feasibility analysis? Feasibility analysis is when you want to see if the business idea is viable. Is it, can you really proceed with the business idea or no? Can you really introduce this product or no? Can you really turn this idea into a service or a product or no? Can you really sell it or no? So these are the things that you want to consider to see if this idea, the opportunity that you have identified, is actually worth pursuing. So this thing that you are doing is actually a feasibility analysis. But then when actually the right time for you to do the feasibility analysis? Is it when you run the business, start the business, or is it when later when you want to expand the business or when you're managing the business? Actually, when you want to conduct feasibility analysis, it has to be at the early stage when you're thinking about starting the business, right? Before you even start the business itself. When you're thinking about it, thinking to pursue with your idea, your business idea or no, your creative idea or no, this is when you want to do feasibility analysis, because you have to screen your ideas. Because when you want to start, before you even start a business, right, you will have multiple ideas. You have to decide which idea you should pursue with. You cannot just, let's say if you have 10 ideas, you cannot pursue with 10 ideas at one go. You have to screen these ideas and which idea is the best for you to pursue. So this is when you want to conduct feasibility analysis to see if that idea is feasible enough or not so. So in feasibility analysis, right, when you are trying to evaluate if your idea is worth pursuing or no, there are four different feasibility analysis of four aspects of feasibility analysis that you should look at. The one is the product or service feasibility. You want to see, okay, if the product or the service that you're thinking of is feasible or no, right? It means that, okay, does the product feasible enough? Can you make it? Can you sell it, right? Then you want to think about the industry or target market feasibility. The product or the service that you are thinking of selling, in which industry it will fall. So you want to evaluate if the industry that you are going to enter, is it feasible enough for you to enter or no? Is it not a good industry for you to get involved, right? So you want to see the feasibility of that industry. And then you want to also think about organizational feasibility. Not only about the product or service, not only about the industry that you are going to enter, but also about your team. You start a business, you want to run a business. Who are the members inside your team that are going to run the business, going to grow the business? How feasible you are and how feasible is your team? Work together. Do you have enough human resources needed? The skill, the knowledge, the number of human resources. So you need to know your organizational feasibility. Are you able to run the business and grow the business or no? If not, then you have to think how you're going to make it feasible. Another one is that your financial feasibility. Talking about financial feasibility, you have to see, all right, if you want to start the business, pursue this idea, how much money do you need to start the business, the capital for you to start the business? Then you need to think of, okay, how much money do you need later if you want to grow the business? How much money are you going to get? The return, how about the return? How much you will get back? How long it will take? So this is considered under the financial feasibility. So let's see if any of this are not feasible for you. Means that it's not attractive. It's not that feasible for you to go further, to pursue. Maybe you want to rethink, right? Maybe you want to say, okay, maybe it's not a good idea. If um, some of the area where you can make it feasible, then you can improve and then pursue the idea. If let's say it is impossible for you to turn it into a feasible thing, then you should not pursue with the idea. You should drop and rethink about the business idea itself. Maybe that idea is not a good idea. Maybe you should think about different idea, then pursue the business later. All right. When we talk about running a business or entrepreneurship, right? I started my sharing session saying that entrepreneurship is important. Governments in throughout the world, right, have been trying to increase number of entrepreneurs. But why? We are trying to, or why around the world, globally, people are trying to increase the number of entrepreneurs. The governments have been trying to increase the number of entrepreneurs, trying to encourage graduates to start their own business, trying to encourage women to start their own business, trying to encourage their people not only to become a job seekers, but to become a job creator, right? So this is because when we relate with entrepreneurship, and entrepreneurship, you cannot deny that entrepreneurship is closely related with innovation. So when there are more entrepreneurs, great entrepreneurs, there will be more innovations as well. So with innovation, it's going to develop the country. And then with more businesses, more entrepreneurs, it's not the numbers of jobs available, because we can see that the number of population is increasing, right? So people need more jobs. So if you become an entrepreneur, by having one business, you are going to create opportunity, job opportunity, multiple job opportunity. And imagine if more entrepreneurs, multiple entrepreneurs are growing, right? I think in this session, we have many, right, audience. So let's say if half of you started your own business, imagine how many job creation that you will be able to create. So this is good for the economic development of the country, or globally as well. And we can see that, all right, we have Global Entrepreneurship Monitor, right? Nowadays, to monitor how well our countries are ranked according to how well their entrepreneurs are, entrepreneurial development, right? And we can also see that 75% of the world population and then 90% of the world GDP all depends on entrepreneurship. So we can see how important entrepreneurship is. It's not only you starting a business to pursue your own idea, to become your own boss, but from there, you are actually helping your country, your nation, and globally develop better. All right. Moving from pursuing your idea, your own idea, from becoming your own boss, right? And then trying to pursue with your innovative idea, the opportunity that you have identified with job creation that I just mentioned before. Entrepreneurship nowadays, it doesn't only stop with you starting a business, you gaining profit, growing your business, sustaining the market, and then creating jobs for people. It doesn't stop until there only. Nowadays, people are emphasizing on social entrepreneurship, right? It's not only the number of people running their own business, but we are emphasizing on how many social entrepreneurs are there. So what are the differences between entrepreneur and social entrepreneur, right? So if you're looking at this picture, right, this picture that I have, we have social entrepreneurship. Main things that it looks at, the social, environment, and culture. It means that when you run the business doesn't only go, the benefit doesn't only go towards you as the owner of the business. The benefit goes to the external factor as well, outside of the business as well. So what can be the outside beneficiaries? It can be towards the social, towards the environment, towards the cultural. Means that your business that you run can benefit others as well, not only benefit you as the owner of the business. So usually, right, when we talk about business deal is about, let's say I'm the seller, yeah, and you are the buyer. How is the transaction will be is that I'm the seller, I will sell you the goods, the product, or the service. I will give you the service, and in return, you will give me money, right? So I will earn in monetary, and you will benefit through the product or service that I'm selling. So this is the concept of entrepreneurship, you can say, or business dealing. But when we talk about social entrepreneurship, we go a step further. Step further where the transaction still happens, right? I'm the seller. I still sell product or service to you as the buyer. You still buy from me. You still pay to me. But then, instead of it stop there and me enjoying the financial benefit that you give to me through paying me, right, by buying my product or my service, there's another group that will benefit from this business transaction. Who is the group? This beneficiary. This is what I just mentioned before. It can be through environment, it can be through social, it can be through cultural, right? But there are other groups that's gonna benefit from the business transaction itself. How they are going to benefit? Maybe, for example, if I run the business, the profit will go to the society, to develop the society, or maybe part of the profit is used to make the environment better, right? So this part of additional beneficiary that is implemented in the business model itself, the transaction itself, then it becomes a social entrepreneurs. So nowadays, we are not talking about to increase the number of entrepreneurs itself only. We are trying to encourage entrepreneurs to become social entrepreneurs as well, and to encourage people not only to become entrepreneurs, but to become social entrepreneurs. Because we want to make sure the sustainable development of the nation. Because if the business transaction happens and the profit earned can also develop the nation, the society, then it will be better. So in social entrepreneurship, right? So what is social entrepreneurship? So in social entrepreneurship is actually the combination of private sector focus on innovation, right? Like example I gave before, right? I'm the seller. My focus on innovation and my risk-taking, large-scale transformation with social problem solving. So instead of me just focusing on the business itself, about invention, new innovation, right? About what are the risks that I'm taking. But at the same time, I'm also trying to focus on solving the social problem. It can be the poverty. It can be related to pollution, right? I want to improve the environment. There are so many other beneficiary as well. But there, make sure that there is social problem that you are going to solve, that you can solve through the business that you run. So then this become a social entrepreneur. It's also say that ongoing business concern that puts a social mission at the heart of the enterprise. So where the business, some businesses, the main motivation of running the business is no more about the financial reward, but it's about making the social better, social to solve the problem, social problem, right? So this can be one of the reason or one of the concept of social entrepreneurship as well. So what's the difference between social entrepreneurship and NGO, right? So social entrepreneurship, the how they help the society, how they solve the social problem or the environment problem is through the business street, right? The business transaction that I showed before, right? When business transaction happen, then it will benefit the beneficiary. But NGO, how they benefit the society or the environment is through donation. There's no business dealing going on. They have the fund, but the fund is through fundraising and through donation. So this is how it's different between social entrepreneurship and NGO. Even though NGO is very important, but social entrepreneurs is even more important, because at the same time, not only that you can benefit the society, but you can also gain benefit through the business that you run yourself. So in social entrepreneurship, right, there are three different models. It can be through external model, it can be integrated model, or embedded model. How they're different. For example, if I'm a social entrepreneur, but I use external model, means that I just run the business, then maybe at the end, some part of the profit, or I just give to any beneficiary, right? Maybe, okay, this year I will contribute to this society, next year I will contribute to this society, for example. But integrated model, when I run the business, when I start the business, say, okay, I will try, when I run the business, I will try that, okay, this certain percentage of my profit, I will try to contribute towards this society itself, right? But when we talk about embedded model is when you want to run the business itself. The business model itself gonna benefit the certain society that you are targeting. So in social entrepreneurship, you can choose this between these three. Not always external model, not always integrated model, not always embedded model, right? As long as the business transaction happens and there's external beneficiary as well. The social problem, social or environmental problem that you are trying to solve through the business that you have run. Okay. So again, when we talk about social entrepreneurship, there's certain words saying that social enterprise models combine the financial discipline of market capitalism with the passion and compassion required to create a more fair and just world. It means that there's financial discipline, right? You run the business, there's financial that you gain from there. But when you run the business, you have the passion and compassion, right, to make the world better through the contribution of the financial reward that you gain through the business that you run. And you will become a good entrepreneur, not only good entrepreneur, but social entrepreneur, and you can also contribute to the society, making the world better. So now I hope that throughout my sharing session, at least I can motivate you, encourage you to become an entrepreneur and choose entrepreneurship as your path. Maybe now, even though while you are a student, you can still run business. It can start small business from your home or from your college time, but then later you can grow it. Or maybe after you graduate, you find a great team, you want to start a business. But hopefully, entrepreneurship is one of the choices that you have, the path that you are thinking of for you to pursue later in the future, inshallah. Thank you from me. Any question that you have? Any of you have?
Yeah, thank you. And for all participants, if you have any question for the speaker, please item the data. You can raise your hand. Yeah, we have 3 questions from participants already read in the Zoom chat.
Sorry, cannot really hear you. Sorry, because your voice kind of not
We
that
have,
clear.
yeah, we have 3 questions from student already read in the Zoom chat, please.
Oh, okay, in the chat.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Okay, the first question I have here from Amin Tohari. All right. The question is that from is Java is an okay question. What is the key ingredients of a successful entrepreneurial activity? Key ingredients of a successful entrepreneurial activity? All right. I think I have mentioned too many, maybe, right? During my discussion. But the main thing to become a successful entrepreneur, right? The key activity is that definitely you have to run the business, But then when you run the business, definitely you are not gonna succeed right away, right? So when you face failure, you have to make sure that you have this belief and this perseverance, right? Even though you keep facing difficulty, keep facing challenges and problems in running your business, in growing your business, you will not give up. You have to keep trying. But when you keep trying, it's not simply try again and try again. You have to think of, step back and think of, okay, what are the areas of improvements that you can make? What are the changes that you can make from previous step that you took? And then only you try again. Because sometimes you face failure because there's something is not right, maybe with your product, maybe with your service, or maybe the way you sell it, right? So maybe whatever that you are trying to sell doesn't really fulfill the demand or the need of your target customer. So I think that is the main ingredients. You have to understand what the customers want. Then you need to also have the great strategy, how you want to sell the product and grow. And you need to be able to identify the opportunity. When people don't really see things, you need to be able to see opportunity for you to grab that others don't. Entrepreneurship, and how do we balance calculated risk versus reckless decision? Okay, all right. You're talking about risk, which is very good, right? In business, any decision that you are taking, there is risk that you have to take. Even the first step of starting a business, right, is deciding to start or not to start a business. So these steps even have the risk that I mentioned before, risk of the financial risk, even the family or social risk that you are taking, right? So when you are thinking about calculated risk, means that you have to think of, okay, if I'm taking this risk, what will be the benefit of taking the risk? And when you see, okay, there's benefit from taking the risk, does the benefit bigger than the risk that you are taking or smaller, right? If there's no benefit, when you are taking that risk, then definitely you shouldn't be taking that risk. But if there's benefit, again, you have to think, does the benefit is big enough as compared to the risk that you are taking? If it is big enough, at least it has to be equal or slightly bigger, right? But if the benefit is okay, there's no benefit, you don't even think about what are the benefits that gonna come with the risk that you are taking, that means that you are taking reckless risk. That's why when we are starting a business or running a business, you need to always think about the benefit that comes together with the risk that you are taking. Then only we say that calculated risk. Another question here is, failure is often seen as a learning opportunity in entrepreneurship. Yeah. How can resilience to overcome setbacks? Because when you are passionate with your business, even with anything, if you are passionate about something, doesn't matter whatever problem that you face, whatever setback that you face, whatever challenges or difficulties, you still want to try again. You still want to improve. You still want to solve the problem. You want to see, okay, what's wrong? What you should do better, what you can something, then what setbacks that comes to you, you're still gonna try again and get up and do it again, try again and try again and try again until you succeed, right? So that's why you need to really have strong passion in your answer all the questions.
Yes, please. Hello?
And yeah,
Yeah. I guess no one else asking again, Miss. Yeah, thank you for answering. I hope this answer will be beneficial for our participants. Yeah, before we close the session, for our participants, please open your camera. I will take a picture on the count of three. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, another 1, 2, 3. Thank you for your information. Finally, we come to the end of visiting lecture today. We would like to thank you for Dr. Sarah for the wonderful information and your knowledge. Yeah. I hope this event will be beneficial for all participants. At least we hope to have more collaboration in the future with University of Malaysia Perlis. The visiting lecture for today and here, web description. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you for inviting. Have a nice day, everyone.
Thank you. Goodbye.